ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Let's inshallah proceed with the Quranic diagrammatic overviews, Juzz 18. We will be taking inshallah Surah Al-Muminoon, Surah Nur and part of Surah Al-Furqan. As usual, let's proceed with some of the introductory analysis of the link between the surahs, the Rabt. Surah Al-Muminoon, if we take a step back from Surah Al-Hajj, where Allah Ta'ala He has permitted the Muslims to now defend themselves and the legitimacy of war has been explicitly outlined. The believers now need to prepare themselves. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, this preparation is done on the individual level. So we will find that in this surah, the believer has been, you can say, has been given us a picture of a believer. These are the characteristics of a true believer, a mu'min. And then Surah An-Nur, which follows that, is at a collective level. Yeah, the judicial system, the social system, even the military system has been explained in some detail. Yeah, so to prepare the believers, as we mentioned earlier, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, Al-Nisa, Al-Ma'idah completed the Sharia. These surahs are in the same way going towards this Sharia being expanded upon and explained to us. So let's take Surah Al-Mu'minun. Bismillah. Al-Mu'minun means the believers. Central theme: it is only those who take a lesson from the end of previous nations, who acquire the correct belief in Tawheed and in the Akhirah and accept the Prophet. So the three Imaniyat again have been mentioned. Yeah, Allah, Risala and Akhirah. That will be the true believers. Rather, it should say they will be the true believers. Only these true believers will be successful and the inheritors of paradise. So let's have a look at the qualities of these believers then. The first section is the characteristics of these believers. Now I want you to, at this point, make a note that these characteristics of the Mu'minun that are being given to us in these ayat 1 to 11, later on in ayat 57, we will take some more characteristics, then you can add to the list. Yeah? Because we should have a list by the end of this session, inshallah, of what are the characteristics of believers, so I can aim for that, inshallah, or I can improve in that. Okay, let's take the surah then from the beginning. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Successful indeed are the believers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. So the first characteristic, the ones who are humble and submissive in their prayer. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. And they turn away from ill speech. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. And who observe zakah. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. And they protect their private parts. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. Except for with their wives or their mates or what their right hands possess, then there is no blame on them, meaning sexual interaction. فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. Whoever takes away beyond that, then they are transgressing. Yes? وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. And when they are given a trust, yeah, and a promise, they are attentive to it. They will not neglect what they have been made custodians over. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَىٰ صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. And who are carefully the maintainers of their prayer. So these qualities have been given here, yeah? Characteristics. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. These are the inheritors. الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. they will inherit Firdaus, Jannah, and they will remain in there forever. May Allah Ta'ala make us from among these believers. Ameen. Moving on then, proofs for the oneness in creation and the oneness of Allah in His creation and the fact that He sustains, He is Rabb. So some ayat are being given in this regard, and these again are ayat kawniyah or ayat in the creation around us. Just a few, let's take وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ Ayah 12, we created man from an extract of clay. ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاهُ نُطْفَةً فِي قَرَارٍ مَكِينٍ and then as a sperm drop we lodged him into the womb. ثُمَّ خَلَقْنَا النُّطْفَةَ عَلَقَةً فَخَلَقْنَا الْعَلَقَةَ مُضْغَةً فَخَلَقْنَا الْمُضْغَةَ عِظَامًا فَكَسَوْنَا الْعِظَامَ لَحْمًا ثُمَّ أَنشَأْنَاهُ خَلْقًا آخَرَ فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Again, stages: sperm drop, clinging clot, lump of flesh, bones, flesh on top of that, and developed into another creation, meaning the ruh is then entered into the body. Yeah? So Allah is the best of creators. ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ لَمَيِّتُونَ and then after that you die. ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ تُبْعَثُونَ and after that you will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment. SubhanAllah. Life cycle. This is the life cycle of man. And then Allah Ta'ala talks about what He has created, the heavens above you. And then He starts to talk about water, the dates, the grapes, and talks about the cattle. We benefit from the cattle through their milk, the benefits that we have from them. And which surah was the climax for this? Who can remember? No, after that. The one after that. An'am. An'am means the cattle. Yeah? And another name for that surah was the surah of blessings. Yeah? Favors of Allah. Because An'am also means what Allah has favored you with. Yeah? So, we looked at that there. So, all the things that we mentioned there, their hair, their fur, their skin, everything that we use of the cattle to benefit us, and we ride them. Yeah? We take them on a long journey. It makes it easy for us. So these are the signs in the creation that there is one creator, created all of this system, how it interacts with its complexities. And He is not only the creator, He is the Rabb. He is making sure that it continues to be sustained and maintained and it reaches its final destiny. Subhanallah. This is Allah, the Rabb. This is the da'wah that they have been given here. The disbelievers. Okay, moving on then to the next part. This is part 3. Ayat 23 to 31. The outcome of the nation of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. So it mentions Nuh alayhi salam. They said he is possessed, just like they said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is possessed. Then he makes a dua. Rabbin surni. Oh Allah, help me. Give me victory over these people. So here there is a glimpse, yeah, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also going through the same thing. He is also asking Allah Ta'ala for help. And then Allah Ta'ala is talking about the law of replacement of people. Now this ayah 31, and then we will see the same topic in ayah 42. Yeah, the law of replacement of people. Let's take this one ayah from here as a conclusion to this third section. Ayah 31. ثُمَّ أَنْشَأْنَا مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ قَرْنًا آخَرِينَ Then we produced after them a generation of others, meaning they were sent the message, denied it, destroyed, another generation came, who replaced them to see how they will now act. Moving on then to section 4 or part 4. This is consisting of ayat 32 to 44. The outcome of the nations of Ad, Thamud, people of Shu'aib and Lut alayhi salam. Same thing, subhanallah. Same thing they said as was said by all messengers. This is ayah 32. Bismillah. So let's just go to it again. Ayah 32. فأرسلنا فيهم رسولا منهم أن اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره أفلا تتقون. And we sent among them a messenger from themselves, saying, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Allah. Then will you not fear Him? Same message being said again regarding all the messengers. They denied the Akhirah. Some of them, they were materialistic people who would say that it's the material. Yeah, people, they die and they live, this is just a life cycle. Yeah, there's nothing behind this. So Allah Ta'ala, He is mentioning them. Like they say here in 37, In hiya illa hayatuna dunya namutu wa nahya wa ma nahnu bimab'uthin. This life is not but our worldly life. That's it. We die and we live. So what? And we will not be resurrected, they're saying. Okay? And they're saying to the Prophet ﷺ, In huwa illa rajulun iftara ala Allahi kadhiban wa ma nahnu lahu bimu'minin. He is not but a man who has invented something about Allah. We're not going to believe in him. So here again is being said, the dua here, Rabbin surni bima kadhabun. Allah help me against the people who are denying me. But what will happen to these people? Yeah, on the Day of Judgment. فأخذتهم الصيحة بالحق فجعلناهم غثاء فبعدا لقوم الظالمين. So the shriek, this is not on the Day of Judgment, this is the adhab that came to the people of Ad. So the shriek seized them in truth, and we made them as plant stubble. Then away with the wrongdoing people. So Allah Ta'ala is telling us an example of His principle, His sunnah. He takes away the generation, brings another generation, and then the subhanallah, the ayah is there again. ثُمَّ أَنشَأْنَا مِن بَعْدِهِمْ قُرُونًا آخَرِينَ. And then we produced after them other generations. So just like that, Quraysh, you are the next generation. What will happen with you? And then today, humanity now is the next generation. What will happen to you of humanity? Khair. Moving on then, inshallah, next section. It then talks about the outcome and the end result of Fir'aun. And here, some more characteristics of the believers have been given. So we take these characteristics in Ayat 52 and 53. So it mentions Nuh alayhi salam again, Fir'aun again, and Musa alayhi salam. So I'm not going to repeat the story, inshallah. And it talks about Ibrahim, Maryam salam alayha, and Isa alayhi salam here. And again it says here in Ayah 52, وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاتَّقُونَ. And indeed this, your deen is one deen. Yeah? And I am your Lord, so fear me. Meaning these prophets came with the same message. But what happened after that? They came with the same message, so what happened? Why are there not still people believing in the same thing? فَتَقَطَّعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ زُبُرًا. But they, the people, divided their religion among them into portions and sects. Just like the Prophet ﷺ said. The Bani Israel divided into 71, I believe. Nasara 72, and the 72, 73, and then the Messenger ﷺ said the believers, the Ummah of Muhammad ﷺ into 73 or 74? 73. All in the hellfire except for one, the one who follows Allah, the Rasul, and the Kitab, the Rasul, and the Sahaba. Yeah? Khair. So this is why, because the people, they disagreed, they then took bits and they then made their own deen. This is why there is this confusion. Moving on then. Let's take one ayah. These ayat now of the characteristics of the believers, yeah? So some more characteristics of the believers are coming now. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ هُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ. This is 57. Indeed, they who are apprehensive from fear of the Lord. So another characteristics that you can add. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ. And they believe in all the ayat and the signs of their Lord. Whether they be in the Quran, of course, first and foremost, in the ayat in the creation, the ayat from history, the ayat in themselves, all these ayat. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ, and they do not commit shirk. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْتُونَ مَا آتَوْا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ وَجِلَةٌ أَنَّهُمْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ رَاجِعُونَ, and they who give what they give while their hearts are fearful. Subhanallah. They give in charity, they do good deeds, but still they are fearful, will Allah accept it or not? These are the true believers, Allah is saying, because they will be returning to their Lord, because they know, if I come to my Lord, like we will see in Surah An-Nur, like it is mentioned, the actions of the disbeliever who does actions which are good in this life, but they are like a mirage. When he gets to them, meaning the hereafter, they will not exist. They have no weight in the sight of Allah. So they they give, but they are fearful, will Allah accept it? أُولَٰئِكَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. It is those who hasten to do good deeds. They don't sit back, you know. When people are doing good, they don't sit back and say, let them do it. They are at the front. They want to do it. They want the portion of reward in that. And they try to outstrip each other. So these are some other of the qualities of the people who are the true believers in the sight of Allah. Okay, moving on then. Ayat 70 to 77, which is the sixth portion or part. Answers to the allegations against the Prophet and an invitation to the mushrikeen. So let's take this ayah 70. أَمْ يَقُولُونَ بِهِ جِنَّةٌ, or do they say in him is madness? أعوذ بالله. بَلْ جَاءَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ لِلْحَقِّ كَارِهُونَ. Rather, he brought them the truth, but most of them, they don't like the truth. Karihun. They don't like it, dislike it. It speaks too much truth. Yeah? Give and take a bit. Too much. All of this is correct. Why we have to, come on, be realistic. You know, people say, you're a bit too religious. Yeah? People will say, if you speak the truth and you say to people, speak the truth, and say, what's wrong with you, man? You're a bit extreme now. Subhanallah, this is extreme. To speak the truth is extreme now. La ilaha illallah. And then Allah Ta'ala is telling them, وَلَوِ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Now Allah Ta'ala is saying, imagine, yeah, if the truth followed your desire. Instead of you following the truth, you're saying the truth should follow my desire. So what would happen? لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. All the heavens and the earth and whatever is in there would be destroyed. There would be chaos. Because everybody's nafs will say something different. Chaos. بَلْ آتَيْنَاهُمْ بِذِكْرِهِمْ فَهُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِهِمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. But it has come to them the dhikr, the reminder, but they turn away. So, to follow the hawa is not at all something that they should be looking for or doing. Let's go to the next section then. So telling the mushrikeen, don't follow your hawa, follow the truth. Section 7, proofs for Tawheed and Akhirah. Let's recite some ayat on this, 77 to 80. حتى إذا فتحنا عليهم بابا ذا عذاب شديد إذا هم فيه مبلسون. Until when we have opened before them a door of severe punishment, immediately they will be in despair. وهو الذي أنشأ لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون. Allah Ta'ala is saying, we produced for you hearing and vision and intellect and hearts, أفئدة. But very few people are grateful, meaning they do not use this for the right reasons. You should use these faculties to appreciate Allah Ta'ala's creation and to acknowledge Him and to worship Him. وَهُوَ الَّذِي ذَرَأَكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. And it is He who has multiplied you throughout the earth, and to Him you will be gathered. وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ وَلَهُ اخْتِلَافُ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ فَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Then Allah is saying, He is the one who creates, gives life, gives death, and He is alternating the night and the day. Don't you think about this? Don't you give this thought? Why don't you come to the right conclusion? Let's move on to the next section then, inshallah. actually before the next section, some other things mentioned here, just to mention them. Allah Ta'ala mentions that He grows the crops for them. Again, the night and the day. Talks about the resurrection. And the answer that Allah Ta'ala then gives to them regarding all these things is that Allah Ta'ala, to Him belongs the heavens and the earth. To Him belongs the malakut, the authority on these. So hence He needs to be obeyed, He should be obeyed. Nobody else should be obeyed. And again, the same thing mentioned again in the ayahs 91 and 92. مَا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ وَمَا كَانَ مَعَهُ مِنْ إِلَهٍ. And Allah has not taken any son, nor has there ever been with Him any deity or any partner. إِذَا لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ وَلَعَلَى بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ سُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ يَمَّا يَصِفُونَ. If there had been, then each deity would have taken what it created, and some of them would have sought to overcome others. It would be chaos. Yeah, some people say there is the God of the rain, and the God of the thunder, and the God of this and God of this. What is this? If they all had these different creations, it would be chaos. Do you think all these gods now sit down and decide in a meeting that, okay, we're all going to plan to work together? SubhanAllah, what is this nonsense? Allah Ta'ala is saying no. Think about it. Allah is above what you associate with Him. Alimul ghaybi wa shahadati fa'ala amma yushrikun. He knows the unseen and what is known to you. Yeah? And He's above what you associate with Him. Last section of this surah, let's take that, then we move on inshallah. This is the section number 8, ayat 93 to 118. The manners of invitation and to give da'wah have been given in this. This is a long section. Let's see if we can take this section in the time we have. Because every ayah, when I was preparing, every ayah I thought this and this and this and this and this, and then I came to the end of the surah. I thought every ayah has to be recited, subhanAllah. So what we'll do this, yeah? I will recite and you read the meaning, and that's it. Because we can't explain, yeah? Inshallah. So this is activity now for you, okay? I recite, you read the meaning while I'm reciting. This is ayah 99 to the end of the surah, inshallah. حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت قال رب ارجعون لعلي أعمل صالحا فيما تركت كلا إنها كلمة هو قائلها ومن ورائهم برزخ إلى يوم يبعثون فإذا نفخ في الصور فلا أنساب بينهم يومئذ ولا يتساءلون فمن ثقلت موازينه فأولئك هم المفلحون ومن خفت موازينه فأولئك الذين خسروا أنفسهم في جهنم خالدون تلفح وجوههم النار وهم فيها كالحون ألم تكن آياتي تتلى عليكم فكنتم بها تكذبون قالوا ربنا غلبت علينا شقوتنا وكنا قوما ضالين ربنا أخرجنا منها فإن عدنا فإنا ظالمون قال اخسئوا فيها ولا تكلمون إنه كان فريق من عبادي يقولون ربنا آمنا فاغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين فاتخذتموهم سخريا حتى أنسوكم ذكري وكنتم منهم تضحكون إني جزيتهم اليوم بما صبروا أنهم هم الفائزون قال كم لبثتم في الأرض عدد سنين قالوا لبثنا يوما أو بعد يوم فاسأل العادين قال إن لبثتم إلا قليلا لو أنكم كنتم تعلمون أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون فتعالى الله الملك الحق لا إله إلا هو رب العرش الكريم ومن يدعو مع الله إلها آخر لا برهان له به فإنما حسابه عند ربه إنه لا يفلح الكافرون وقل رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. Subhanallah, amazing section of Quran. Allahu Akbar. I hope inshallah it was a benefit that you read it and you took the message from it, inshallah. We move on then, inshallah, to the next surah, which is Surah Nur. The scholars, they say regarding Surah Nur, teach this to your daughters, teach this to your sisters, teach this to your women folk. Especially, specifically, this has been given as advice from the scholars, because this gives us some beautiful teachings regarding societal life, family life, etiquettes, hijab, etc., etc. And it shows the status of woman in Islam, the honor Allah He has given to His creation, especially the women. In that we will see, even to accuse women without 4 witnesses is punishable. So this protects, in Arabic, the muhsina, the one who has been fortified, protects the woman's honor. Subhanallah. And how much are we in need of that, to protect the honor of women and not to degrade them and dishonor them. So this surah is nur, it is light. In times of darkness, where women are not appreciated for who they really are. They are the creation of Allah, equal to man in that they are creation of Allah, but man and woman have very specific roles. Simple, no complication in that. Subhanallah. This surah, if we take the period of revelation then for this, Surah Nur. In the previous surah, Surah Muminoon, we saw that there was propaganda against the Prophet ﷺ himself. In here there is propaganda against his family, especially his wife Aisha radiallahu anha, the mother of the believers. Period of revelation, Dhul Qa'dah, 5th year of Hijri now. We have jumped into a Madani surah straight away, yeah? Hijri. Coming back from the Ghazwa Bani Mustaliq in the 6th of Hijri, month of Sha'ban. The incident, let me just narrate it very quickly. After this Ghazwa of Bani Mustaliq, the Prophet ﷺ, he was returning with the caravan as they would. And during the journey, Aisha radiallahu anha, because she was very, very, you could say, light in weight. And they used to have, on the camel or on the horses, they used to have carriages in which the women would sit. And when she wanted to relieve herself on the journey, she asked you could say, the person who was tending to the camel or the horse to stop. And once they stopped, this is what the tradition was, they would go into the wilderness to relieve themselves and then come back. And what happened was that once she was coming back, she realized that she had lost something. I believe it was her necklace. So she went back to look for the necklace, and in that duration, the person tending to the camel or the horse thought, this has been now long time, inevitably she must be back in the carriage. So he put the carriage on top, or they put the carriage on top, because she was so light, they didn't realize the carriage is empty. And the caravan continued. Yes? Now, they had a system where they had somebody tail end the caravan. Like this is really, really off topic. If you learn communication technology, yeah? Protocol technology, there needs to be something at the end to make sure that data has been processed properly. So anyway, same sort of idea, that there used to be one of the Sahabi, Mistah, if I'm not mistaken, who would then make sure that if anybody has dropped something or anybody has been left behind, then he would carry them or take them, assist them. Yeah? So Aisha radiallahu anha, when she realized, because she was intelligent, mashallah, Aisha radiallahu anha, not any woman, subhanallah, scholar of this ummah, amazing jurist of this ummah. She is a mountain of knowledge. The Sahaba would go to learn from her, min wara'i hijab, behind the curtain. So she then said, okay, let me just sit and wait for the tail end, and they will obviously then realize, and then we will continue the journey. While she is waiting, she falls asleep. Until that time, the ahkam of hijab had not been revealed. Hence, the tail ender was able to recognize her, and he thought she had passed away. When she hears him, she quickly gathers herself, and then they make the journey. When the munafiqeen, the hypocrites, heard about this, they started to allege against Aisha radiallahu anha, to make false allegations against the mother of the believers, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was a very, very hard time for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for Aisha radiallahu anha, and for Abu Bakr, subhanallah, and for the Muslimin at large. Yeah. So with this context, and this surah was revealed to show the innocence of Aisha radiallahu anha. Not only her innocence, her status in the eyes of Allah. Light, she is light for this ummah, subhanallah al-azim. So with that, inshallah, may Allah put in our hearts the love for Aisha radiallahu anha. Khair. Central theme: abandon kufr and nifaq and act upon the Islamic guidelines regarding your family, social, military and other collective affairs. A promise of being granted leadership and authority. Let's take then the ayat. The first few ayat, let's start with the first few ayat, inshallah, regarding the punishment for the unmarried fornicator, the person who fornicates who is not married. So, Surah Nur, let's take 3 of the first ayat in recitation, and then we proceed, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Suratun anzalnaha wa faradnaha wa anzalna fiha ayatin bayyinatin la'allakum tadhakkarun. A surah which we have sent down and made obligatory and revealed therein verses of clear evidence that you may remember. الزانية والزاني فاجلدوا كل واحد منهما 100 جلدة ولا تأخذكم بهما رأفة في دين الله إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر وليشهد عذابهما طائفة من المؤمنين. So the punishment for the person unmarried of guilty of this is to have 100 stripes. Yes. And Allah Ta'ala is saying people should witness this punishment as a deterrent to society, because Allah Ta'ala wants a very strong social system. The bedrock or the foundation of a social system is family life, the relationship between man and woman as husband and wife, in which they contract, Allah is the witness and there are other witnesses, that they are going to be loyal to each other and they will abide by Allah and His Rasul's instructions, and they will then form the bedrock of society where they will bring up a family, and then every family becomes a brick in the wall of society, and the society then becomes a strong unit. So hence the society is very, very important for it to have a married couple who then take care of each other and their needs, etc. So therefore, to break this, it is punishable, so that people do not go near that. Clear? Let's take some the next ayat then. Ayat 4 to 10. Punishment for slandering against chaste women, like we have mentioned already. So ayah number 4, let's just take ayah number 4 for this. وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ, and the people who accuse muhsanat, we mentioned, Hisn is a fort, Hisnul Muslim, you've seen that book, So the ones who have fortified themselves, they do not indulge in illegal sexual activity, etc. Allah Ta'ala is saying, when you allege against them, ثُمَّ لَمْ يَأْتُوا بِأَرْبَةِ شُهَدَاءَ, and you don't come with 4 witnesses. فَاجْلِدُوهُمْ ثَمَانِينَ جَلْدَةً وَلَا تَقْبَلُوا لَهُمْ شَهَادَةً أَبَدًا وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Allah Ta'ala is saying, they will now be punished. The people who are making these allegations, 80 lashes or 80 stripes. And now their witness is not anymore reliable now, because they have now spoken with something that they cannot prove with witnesses. And these people, they are the fasiqun. Many things to say here, but time is very short, subhanallah. Khair, let's move on. Ayat 11 to 26. The incident of Ifk and its commandment. So we mentioned the incident of Ifk, which was the allegation against the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Aisha radiallahu anha, our mother, the mother of the believers. Allah Ta'ala is saying the attitude of the believers. Allah Ta'ala is correcting the attitude of the believers. The believers' attitude should have been one of dhan. Dhan is to have an estimation regarding somebody, yeah? So when you meet somebody, you have an estimation of this person, good, bad, what is this person like? Allah Ta'ala is saying here that the believers, when they heard of this allegation, they should have a husnul dhan, an estimation of Aisha that should have been a good estimation, and they should have said, no, this is buhtanun azim, this is a great allegation against her, no way. But you didn't do that outrightly. You should have done that. And of course, how would they have known how to do this? Because this had never even come to their imagination. So hence the believers were shocked. They didn't know how to react. So this is guidance to the believers. And in some places Allah Ta'ala is saying that you should have acted otherwise. Okay, let's move on then, inshallah. Let's take this ayah 19. Regarding the munafiqeen who spread the rumor about Aisha radiallahu anha, and then they made it public, and then they spread the rumor. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُحِبُّونَ أَن تَشِيعَ الْفَاحِشَةُ فِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Indeed, those people who like immorality and fahisha, indecency, is broadcast in the believers, meaning to make it public knowledge. لَهُمْ أَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. For them there is an adhabun alim, a painful torment in this dunya and in the akhirah. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah knows, you don't know them. Allah knows these people who are spreading the fahisha. And then another incident happened. Now, one of the Sahaba who was, we have to be very careful when we mention Sahaba, you see, because we cannot disrespect them at all, ever. But they were human, and they made mistakes, but they did tawbah and they became even higher in the ranks of Allah. So one Sahaba by the name of Mistah, I think Mistah is the one I should have mentioned here, not the tail ender. He was somebody who Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he used to take care of. He was a relative of his or kindred of his. He would help him, support him financially, etc. When it was known that he was part of the people who did not actually stop this from happening, rather also became engrossed in this, not with the bad intention, Abu Bakr then said, I will not now support this relative of mine, because this has been the cause, or this has been part of the allegation against my daughter Aisha radiallahu anha, because Aisha was the daughter of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So this ayah is mentioned regarding this. وَلَا يَأْتِي أُولُو الْفَضْلِ مِنْكُمْ وَالسَّعَةِ أَنْ يُؤْتُوا أُولِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَالْمُهَاجِرِينَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلْيَعْفَؤُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. And let not those of virtue among you and the wealth, meaning Abu Bakr, swear not to give aid to their relatives and the needy and the emigrants for the cause of Allah, and let them pardon and overlook. Allah Ta'ala is saying, pardon what he did, overlook it. But then Allah Ta'ala says, don't you love that Allah Ta'ala, He would forgive you. And Allah is most gracious, most merciful. What did Abu Bakr do? Straight away he forgave. He didn't say, I have to think about it. Because Allah Ta'ala says, better, He says, I will go for what's best. Subhanallah, radiallahu anhu. Khair. Moving on then. And this regarding the punishment of these people who allege against the chaste women. إن الذين يرمون المحصنات الغافلات المؤمنات لئنوا في الدنيا والآخرة ولهم عذاب عظيم. The people who accuse chaste women, unlawfully, unaware, believing women, they are cursed in this life and in the hereafter, and they will have a great punishment. What was that punishment going to be? يوم تشهد عليهم ألسنتهم وأيديهم وأرجلهم بما كانوا يعملون. On the day when their tongues, their hands and their feet will bear witness against them as to what they used to do. يومئذ يوفيهم الله دينهم الحق ويعلمون أن الله هو الحق المبين. That day Allah will pay them in full their true deserved recompense, the punishment, and they will know that it is Allah who is the manifest truth. He will do justice. Moving on then to the next section. SubhanAllah, each section needs detail, but no time. Ahkam of entering the home. Now, a society, our social system, and our interactions, some of the main aspects have been mentioned. One of them is entering the houses of other people. So if you go to visit somebody, what are the etiquettes of entering the home? First etiquette explained in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is once you knock, you wait, but you do not wait, you do not stand in front of the door, you stand at a side so that you cannot have direct eye contact into the house, privacy. You should give salam. You should not enter until you are given permission to come in. Even to the extent, the surah mentions, I'm not reciting them because of the time. The surah says that if you are asked to go back, so you knock, somebody says, no, we're busy now, can you come back? Then you should go back and you should not have any qualms about it. That's difficult, isn't it? And there was one Sahabi who was sad that this never happened to him, therefore he was unable to act on this ayah. SubhanAllah. So, these are the ahkam of entering the homes. Allah Ta'ala, He has told us the etiquettes. And then, ahkam regarding women and men and their social interactions. First is to lower the gaze. Yes, to lower the gaze. And then a whole list, no time to go to the list, a whole list in Ayat 31 has been given of those women, not women, for women, of those men in front of whom they can go without hijab. The whole list has been given in here and in Surah Al-Ahzab. If you want to learn about hijab in Islam, then learn Surah Nur and Surah Ahzab. And if somebody you are talking to in your da'wah conversation asks you where in the Quran, you should know straight away Surah Nur, Surah Al-Ahzab, 2 places in the Quran. And this happened, we had an interaction with somebody and he asked me, where is the Quran say this? So I gave him Surah Nur, Surah Ahzab, and he sat and he read properly, alhamdulillah, and he saw it for what it is. So the list has been given for the men in front of whom the wife can go, without the hijab and the niqab, etc. Khair. And then some ahkam of nikah have been given regarding that you should marry, and if you cannot marry, then Allah, He will give you, inshallah, He will bless you in order to marry, etc. Some ahkam have been given. Let's look at this beautiful section I would like to take of Surah Nur, and this is part of the QFC course as well. In fact, many of the things, the first 11 ayat of the Surah Muminoon, part of the QFC course. This section of Surah Nur, part of the QFC course. So let's have a look at these ayat about Allah being Nurus Samawati wal Ard. Beautiful section. SubhanAllah. Won't be able to do it properly, but let's inshallah take what we can from this. Let's at least read one ayah and we'll explain the rest inshallah. This is ayah 35. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu nurus samawati wal ard. Allah, He is the light of the heavens and the earth. Mathalu nurihi kamishkatin fiha misbah. The example of His nur is like a niche within which there is a lamp. Al-misbahu fi zujajah. The lamp is in a glass. Az-zujajatu, the glass, ka'annaha kawkabun durriyun. is like a pearly white star. يُوقَدُ مِن شَجَرَةٍ مُبَارَكَةٍ زَيْتُونَةٍ لَا شَرْقِيَّةٍ وَلَا غَرْبِيَّةٍ. And it is lit, this light is lit from a blessed tree, which is neither of the east or the west, the olive oil. يَكَادُ زَيْتُهَا يُضِيءُ وَلَوْ لَمْ تَمْسَسْهُ نَارٌ. It is just about to be ignited or lit, even though the fire has not touched it. نُورٌ عَلَى نُور, light upon light. يَهْدِ اللَّهُ لِنُورِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Allah Ta'ala, He guides through His light whom He wants, and He gives the examples for the people, and Allah Ta'ala, He is all aware of everything. Now this meaning of this surah, this ayah, briefly, yes, so we can understand. This is referring to the nur of Iman inside the heart of the believer. We have your fitrah, yes, and then you have the nur of Iman in the heart. When the external nur, like this light of wahi, revelation comes, the clean, pure heart, it recognizes the light, it says same frequency, subhanallah, light upon light, resonates. Yes, this is the heart of the believer. Then there is mentioned here that these believers, some qualities, can't unfortunately go into those qualities right now, but then it contrasts this with the kuffar. وَالَّذِينَ كَفْرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا وَوَجَدَ اللَّهَ عِندَهُ فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابَهُ وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. Like we mentioned before, the people who disbelieve, their deeds are like a mirage in a low land in which a thirsty one thinks it is water, until when he comes to it, he finds nothing but Allah, and Allah is swift in reckoning. Meaning, you did all these good deeds, but you did them without the Iman in Allah and the last day. Hence, nothing for you on this day. You got what you wanted in the dunya. And then the last example of those people who don't have belief and they don't do any good deeds either, is like this. The darkness within an unfathomable sea, meaning very dark sea, which is covered by waves, upon which are waves, over which are clouds, darkness some upon others. When one puts out his hand, he can hardly see it. And he to whom Allah has granted light, for them there is no light. Subhanallah. Meaning, doesn't even do any good, at least to be good. Just selfish person. Does nothing good for anybody else. Moving on then. The third section then. Knowing Allah through His attributes. Let's see this ayah 41. ألم تر أن الله يسبح له من في السماوات والأرض والطير صافات كل قد علم صلاته وتصبيحه والله عليم بما يفعلون. Do you not see that Allah is exalted by whomever is within the heavens and the earth, and the birds and the wings spread in flight? Each of them has known his means of prayer and exalting Him, and Allah is knowing of what they do. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَإِلَى اللَّهِ مَصِيرٌ. And He is the sovereign of the heavens and the earth, and to Him is the return. And one other ayat, then we move on. وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَ كُلَّ دَابَّةٍ مِّمَّا. Allah, He created every creature from the water. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى بَطْنِهِ. Some of them, they crawl on their bellies. Yeah? وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى رِجْلَيْنِ. Or they walk on 2 feet or 2 legs. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى أَرْبَعٍ. Or 4 legs. يَخْلُقُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ. He creates as He wills. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. He is over everything able to do. So some of the ayat of the attributes of Allah and His creation. Moving on to the fourth part then. The difference between the characteristics of the believers and the munafiqun. The main problem with the munafiqun, we mentioned before, I think, is that they could not bear to obey Allah's messenger. This was their real sticking point, because they didn't believe in Him to be messenger, but they said they are believers. So it became very difficult for them, that I have to now follow this man who I don't like, I don't believe in fact I hate. So Allah Ta'ala is mentioning the characteristics between the believers and the munafiqun. Let's take a few ayat here regarding when the messenger gives judgment, what is the attitude of the hypocrites and what is the attitude of the believers. So this is ayah 48. وَإِذَا دُعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ إِذَا فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. And when they are called to the words of Allah and His Messenger to judge between them, at once a party of them turns aside in refusal. They don't want to come to the Prophet ﷺ for the judgment. وَإِن يَكُنْ لَهُمُ الْحَقُّ يَأْتُوا إِلَيْهِ مُذْعِنِينَ. But if the right is theirs, they come to him in prompt obedience. Meaning if it goes against them, even if it's right, they don't like it. But if it's in their favor, that's good, we'll listen to you now. So if it suits them, they come. أَفِي قُلُوبِهِم مَرَضٌ أَمِ ارْتَابُوا أَمْ يَخَافُونَ أَنْ يَحِيفَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. Is there disease in their hearts? Because nifaq is the disease. Or have they doubted? Or do they fear that Allah will be unjust to them or the messenger? Meaning, why are they coming to the messenger for the decision? It's because they don't believe. But they say we believe. Rather, it is they are who are the wrongdoers. But look at the attitude of the believers. إنما كان قول المؤمنين إذا دعوا إلى الله ورسوله ليحكم بينهم. And look at, it is not but when the believers, when they are told to come to Allah and His Rasul for a judgment, أن يقولوا سمعنا وأطعنا. They do not but say, we listen and we obey. This is their attitude. What was the attitude of the munafiqeen or the Bani Israel? سمعنا وعصينا. We listen but we disobey. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. They will be successful because they obeyed Allah and His Messenger. And then there is good news. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَخْشَ اللَّهَ وَيَتَّقْهِ. Whoever obeys Allah and the Messenger and fears Allah and has taqwa, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَائِزُونَ. They will be the people who are successful. Okay, let's move on then, inshallah. And then Allah Ta'ala is telling them who will be the inheritors of this land. Yeah? وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Allah Ta'ala, He promises the people, the believers who do good deeds. What of? لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ. Allah, He will give them inheritance in this land, succession in this land. يَسْتَخْلِفَنَّ. Yeah? Khalf, to come after. Khilafa, the process of coming after. فِي الْأَرْضِ كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Like He did for the people before them. وَلَيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمْ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ وَلَيُبَدِّلَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا. And what will Allah give? Upon the earth, just, we've done that, and He will surely establish for them therein their religion, which He has preferred for them, and He will surely substitute for them after their fair security. For they worship Me, not associating anything with Me. But whoever disbelieves after that, then those are the defiantly disobedient. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. If you want to receive Allah's mercy, establish the prayer, establish the zakat, obey the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Moving on to the next section, or the next sections, which we will inshallah take, is briefly now. Ahkam of entering the rooms has been given now. When you enter somebody's room in the house, knock, especially before Fajr time, Zuhr after Zuhr, because usually this is siesta time, and after Isha. Yes, don't just barge into somebody's room in your house, your brother, your sister, no. Especially these times, be careful. Some ahkam for elderly women, it is slightly relaxed. The hijab is slightly relaxed for those women who are so old now. Yes, even for them though, if they establish the hijab, it is better. This is a sign of their iffa, their the translation of iffa, yani their modesty, you could say. And then ahkam for eating, greeting and entering homes has been given. Some more ahkam. So, yani no time to go into detail, but people can sit together and eat, or they can eat on their own in their homes. This doesn't mean you can freely mix with people you're not supposed to mix, yeah? Some people misinterpret this ayah. They say the Quran says that you can sit together or separately. So that means I can sit with all the women. No, this doesn't mean that at all. This has to be understood from the tafsir. And ahkam for collective organization. We'll take these few ayat at the end before we conclude, inshallah, today's section. If we take ayah 62 to the end, then the believers are only those who believe in Allah and His Messenger, and when they are meeting with Him for a matter of common interest, they do not depart until they have asked His permission. So social etiquette. Similarly, when you go to somebody's house, don't just leave without permission. This is against the Sunnah of the Prophet. This is disobedience to the Prophet. This is ignorance. This is not right. Indeed, those who ask you permission, O Muhammad, those are the ones who believe in Allah and His Messenger. So when they ask your permission due to something of their affair, then give them permission to whom you will among them, and ask forgiveness for them to Allah. So not only give them permission, ask for Allah's forgiveness. This is a blessing. Indeed, Allah is forgiving and merciful. And more etiquettes regarding how to respect the Prophet ﷺ, and this will come in Surah Al-Hujurat as well. Do not make your calling of the Messenger among yourselves as the call of one you to another. You can't call Prophet ﷺ in the way you would do to each other. You have to give him more respect. Allah already knows those of you who slip away concealed by others. Some of them used to slip away from the Prophet ﷺ's sitting. They think they're very clever. Nobody saw us, we lagged it. Foolishness. Allah al-Musta'an. May Allah protect us from this sort of ignorance. People do it. I have witnessed it. Subhanallah. So let those beware who dissent from His order, lest fitna strike them or a painful punishment. So beware. And the last ayah, Ala inna lillahi ma fis samawati wal ard. Unquestionably, know for fact, for Allah belongs all that is in the heavens and the earth. قَدْ يَعْلَمُ مَا أَنْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ وَيَوْمَ يُرْجَعُونَ إِلَيْهِمْ فَيُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا عَمِلُوا. And Allah, He knows that upon which you stand, and knows the day when they will be returned to Him. وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. And He will inform them what they have done, and Allah is knowing of all the things. Just to finish off Surah Al-Furqan, we were going to take, but inshallah in the next section we will take it. Just some introductory points of Surah Al-Furqan. Period of revelation is 7th of Nabawi. Again, allegations of the Prophet ﷺ being a fabricator, na'udhu billah, and maskhur, magician, or being possessed. And this is giving us the tarbiyah to the Sahaba. The tarbiyah to the Sahaba. Let's just take the central theme. Instruction to conduct the great jihad with this Quran. Jahidhum bihi jihadin kabira. By presenting the signs in nature and self, answering the baseless allegations against the Prophet ﷺ, establishing hujjah, manifest proof, on the mushrikeen and deniers of Tawheed, describing the qualities of the servants of Rahman, Ibadur Rahman. Beautiful section in this, about who are the people who are the real servants of Allah, Rahman, without any sense of being overwhelmed by the opposition. Not to give in, not to feel or have the defeatist mentality in this regard. Khair, with that we come to the end of today's session. Although we did not complete the Juzz, but inshallah we will take Surah Furqan as a whole in the next Juzz, and then inshallah we will continue. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik wa jazakumullahu khairan.